Hey, welcome back everybody. Today we're going to take a deep dive into the essential aspect of amateur radio communications, selecting the right field key. Whether you're a seasoned operator or just starting to explore the world of CW, the key you choose can significantly affect your experience and performance. Today we're going to walk through various types of Morse code keys, specifically field keys as you see right here in front of me. And we're going to show you what factors to consider in buying one and how to select the right key for your needs. But before we jump into the selection, let's talk about what a Morse code key is. If you saw my short, you saw these a little bit before. We're going to go in a little bit more depth today. Basically, a Morse code key is used to send Morse code by generating dots and dashes, and you manually do that with a straight key or a sideswiper or cootie. Otherwise, you have an electronic keyer that will do it for you. And those correspond to the letters, numbers, and symbols in the alphabet. Now, there's several different types of keys we're going to look at today, and we're going to start off with the DIY home printed version. Alright guys, and here we are starting out with the iambic paddles. These are both designs by K6ARK. You can find them on printables. This is a single lever, this is a double lever. He's got another version, but I don't have that. So taking a look at these, they're very easy to print. If you have a printer at home, you can make them in just a matter of hours. If you don't have one, I'm sure a friend does, or there's plenty of other ways to get a hold of them nowadays. The beauty of these is the low cost. They're $3 to $5 to make. When you initially order a batch of parts for these, it does cost you in the neighborhood of about $40, but I believe you can make about 10 different keys with those parts. So at this, it's the iambic, it's the most traditional and modern days anyhow. It's definitely not the oldest, but they've been around for quite some time. It allows you to make dots and dashes left or right, or you can reverse it depending on your preference. So with these, they are very small, very portable, very light, absolutely great little keys that you can use just about anywhere at any time. With a single lever, it does the same thing. Depending on how you have your radio set up, it can act more like a single lever, where you have to manually make the dots and dashes. As where with the iambics, it's always the timing is automatic, which makes it a lot easier for both beginners and advanced alike. These are great keys. I have, I want to say, in the neighborhood of 6 or 7. Keep them as a spare in every field kit. And a lot of times I will do activations with them because I think they are tremendous keys. Enjoy having them around. So next we're going to move over to another 3D print. However, they are commercial prints. Alright guys, and what we have here are the manufactured 3D keys. On my right, this is by CW Morse. It is a company that's here in Texas, about an hour east of me. This is from KM4CFT. If you've seen my CFT1 video, you'll know he's a great designer, young engineer, and is doing some great things. This does come as a kit, so do be aware of that. As you order this, you will have to do a little bit of the build at home. It is very straightforward. I want to say it took me about a half hour, give or take. These are both great keys. I want to say the CW Morse runs around $60. Again, it's iambic, dots and dashes. Does have the adjustments for the offset from the center post on both sides. And right here you do have a spring tension. So all the keys I've talked about so far are spring tension. I have used this a couple times on an activation. I really do enjoy it, as we'll talk about in a few minutes. I'm actually more of a fan of the spring return 3D keys than some of the magnet keys. I know I'm odd, but that's just kind of my style and what I prefer so far. So this key does come with magnets on the bottom. Typically when I send, I do prefer to hold my hand over like this and send whenever I'm activating, just more stable, better hold on the key. KM4CFT, it's a very similar and a lot of the design features. Again, you have the offsets on both sides. Offset from the center post controls the overall travel of the key. And here, this is another spring tension. I believe the KM4CFT is around $40 online, and the CW Morse, depending on the version that you get, can run from about $50 up to about $65 if I recall correctly. Both great keys, both American made, really enjoy them both. They're about the same weight, I would say. They both pack up about the same. Both great keys, both made in America. Definitely enjoy them. They're easy to fit in packs. Don't have to worry too much about them. One thing you do have to be careful of with the other 3D keys with the K6R case as well as these, they are designed to have more strength laterally as you're pushing into the key. If you get a lot of downward force on them, that can cause more stress and to break with the 3D prints. Both of these keys are very similar in that respect. So when you do pack it, do take a little bit of care and pay a little bit of attention. I use hard cases for most of my stuff, so it sits in kind of nicely. I try to pack it in to where it is a little tight, so I don't have to worry quite so much about those. Next, I want to show you the nicest field key that I have, and we'll take a look at that here in just a moment. Alright guys, so now taking a look at what is my nicest field key. It is a fully machined, aluminum, anodized, magnetic return, reversible on the inside, so you can have dots and dashes on whichever side you prefer. Large finger keys, magnets on the bottom, and it is made by ModernMorse by Aaron. Ordered this thing last year. I've used it a handful of times on different activations. It is a phenomenal key. It performs very well. The feel is so different than the 3D keys. As I've mentioned before, I think I like the feel of the 3D keys a little bit, but I just don't know I'm ever going to get rid of this thing. It is absolutely beautiful. The downside, these are very expensive. I believe mine was a little over $200 shipped. Again, that was last fall. I believe I ordered it in June. He was having some manufacturing backup, and I got it a little bit later in the year. But it's definitely worth the wait, guys. If you want a very good key that's here made in America, he's great. There's a handful of other ones. Larry N0SA, I believe is his call sign. He does a lot of really great keys as well. I think he does small runs, small releases. So you can find some of those on the secondary market, and same with these, but you just don't see them come up too much because field operators really love these things and love to hang on to them. So as we discussed earlier, this does have the adjustments. You can see right in here on both sides for the control for the offset of the center post on the paddles. And then there's magnets. You can see them down. You can see them right down in there. There's magnets on both sides that control the return. So it has a very different feel. The best way I can say is everybody's felt something with a spring. You could almost liken it to a Bic pen. When you're pressing on a Bic pen, kind of the way that feels. It's not that spongy in the 3D keys, but it's a good way to look at it as you're going through that. With the magnets, it's very hard to describe. I'd almost say it's like you're pushing against a firm yet smooth resistance, and it immediately comes back. It's really great. It does take me some getting used to because it is a very different feeling with these keys. So I can't say enough good about the ModernMorse. I've definitely enjoyed it. Looking forward to Hamfest this year, Hamvention, pardon me, to get up to date and get to take a look at some of these. So next we're going to take a look at the most traditional key out there. Maybe not my specific key. Next we're going to take a look at a very traditional key. It is a straight key. We'll be right back. And finally, the most iconic of Morse code keys, the straight key. This is made by SpeedX. I bought this one off eBay. I believe it was about $35 shipped. You can find them on eBay. You can find them at Hamfest locally. You can find it at Hamvention. So many of these keys were made, and they're in very good shape. This one, you can see it's got a little rust and pitting on here. It is an older key. I do need to clean that up, but it works very well. These are as simple as you can possibly get. Here in the middle, you just have a little fulcrum that the key pivots on. You have a spring return pressure right here. That's what controls how much pressure it actually takes to go up and down. Your contact is just right under here. Then on the back, you do have a stop for how far the lever goes down to come back up. This is about as easy as it gets. Since this is on a light base, I'm going to hold on the top, but you just hold on to it and you're able to go with it. So that's it. That was CQDEWE5J. So these are great keys. I normally use this here in the shack, but I am going to start taking it out. There are some smaller ones. There's a company called Key. I believe they're Chinese. They sell on Amazon. They make, from what I've been told, a very nice small straight key. I want to say it's around $40, and that works very well. It's all aluminum. It's a little bit more compact and sleek than these traditional straight keys, but these work. They have for a long time, and one thing I love about them is generally straight key operators, they generally don't run quite as high of a word per minute count. So it's a little bit tougher. I can run my iambics at 20 words per minute without much issue. With these, getting to 14 words a minute is actually a struggle. It's very much more difficult for me. It's just a lot different muscle memory. You have to do all the forming of the characters and the spacing, and it's just much more of a challenge. It's a tremendous amount of fun, and I am going to take this out on an activation here before too long. So really enjoy these style of keys. So that's our straight key. We've covered our types of keys. Now we need to decide what's going to be best for us, what do we want to take to the field, and how is that going to look once we get there. Alright guys, now as we start talking about the factors to consider when buying a key, comfort and ergonomics is a really big one. This is a tiny key. If you look, it disappears in my hand. It's a little bit difficult to hold when you're out in the field. One thing you can help with this is a 3D printed case. I told you a little bit earlier about protecting the arms. That's the way I do it with this one. I put it in this little case. But the beauty of this also, you can turn it around after you plug it in, snap it in, now you've got more to hold. It just makes it a lot easier to operate these keys. As you look at the larger keys, the larger 3D printed keys, same with the KM4CFT, gives me a good room to do that. Also, does have the magnets in the bottom, so if you do have a piece of metal, steel, something like that, you can definitely put that down and it'll stay put. Same with the CW Morse. Again, stays in your hand, has magnets in it. It is a comfortable, easy key to use. Again, as we come back, I keep saying it again and again. Slightly larger size. This does have a nice little bit of groove on the side, little indentation. It also has machined in some grooves there. As you hold it, you know, a good way to do it. Again, magnets on the bottom. With the straight key, you're kind of stuck. You're going to need either a board, something heavy, or as I've shown you earlier, second hand to hold that down. That's a big thing to think about if you're going to take a straight key to the field. Not a lot of people do. I think they should do more, and I will do more of it myself. But as you're going through, think about how you're going to use these keys. Are you going to be hiking in a long way, so you want ultimate lightweight? Are you going to be walking just a short distance so you can take a little bit more weight? Maybe you want to take a heavier key. Those are part of the things to think about. I'm not a long distance hiker, so any of these work just fine for me. Getting into speed and efficiency of how you use a key, how you send, and what your cadence is going to be. I mainly focus on POTA when I'm in the field. That's my biggest thing. So my speed is typically about 20 words per minute. So as I look, any of these iambic keys are going to work just fine. Straight key, that's going to put me down comfortably at 12 words a minute to activate. So as I'm sending, I'm going to be around 12 words a minute. The rest of these can pretty much go up to 20 and go a little bit higher, but I'm very much more comfortable right around 20. Moving into the design and durability of these keys, again, we talked about it with the plastic keys. You leave them in a car, it's 3D printed. You could start getting warping, could get soft, could melt. Another issue to be concerned with on these keys, as I mentioned before, is the levers. Left to right, they're in pretty good situation. Up and down, you're going to have a bit more of an issue, potentially with those breaking or having damage to them. You got to be careful how you pack them. If you drop these, you could run into an issue with that. You just have to be much more aware with the 3D key because it is plastic. The straight key, obviously, across the board, this is a big, wide open key. It's designed for use indoors primarily, so you have to be very cognizant of that when you're outside. This aluminum housed key, man, I'm not too worried about it. It does have a Lexan front, so I could get some scratches on it. Could have some other form issue, but generally, I think it's going to be just fine. If you drop it, yeah, it's going to scratch a little bit, but you're not going to break anything. So as far as durability goes, the aluminum keys definitely went out. Adjustability, you know, most of these are pretty adjustable, as I showed you across the board. They have the same range of adjustments for controlling the paddle throw, the tension on the paddle. I think you have more precise with the aluminum key. However, it is a lot more expensive, so you got to weigh that into your factor as well. Speaking about expense, as we look, talked about around $5, $40 to $60, north of $200, and again, $30 to $50 online for those. So as you look at it, if you're just starting CW, and that's where I want to talk to most of you guys, that if you're starting or you have general questions, you know, this is the intent of this series. As we look at each of these keys, this is almost how I progressed. My very first key, was this one right here. Got it from a gentleman on the HRCC Discord. He charged me for shipping, and that was it. I can't say enough thanks to Steve for doing that. And this is what got me started. I did my first activation with this key. I learned CW with this key. I hunted from the shack with this key. As you can see, it's lost some magnets. It's a little beat up, but it would still work. If I hooked it up right now, I guarantee you I could get on the air and make contacts. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. It all depends on what you like and what you want to do. Again, I gravitate towards the 3D keys. I love the ModernMorse, love everything it offers, but these are the ones I'm grabbing the most often. So as we talked a little bit about using these keys, again, we're primarily focused on field keys, but just to touch briefly on the difference between a field key and a shack iambic key. For scale, this is my shack key. This is a 5-pound K8RA completely brass key. That is a field key. As you can see, this is very much light, and this is a 3-pound key. I don't want to go and lug this guy out to the field. I'm just not going to do it. I did winter field day this year, and I was using this key. I didn't take this one out. There's absolutely no reason to do it. I don't need to do it. It is just so much extra weight and size. But if I'm working at the house, that is a phenomenal key because it's always here, it's available, it's hooked up. As you heard, I accidentally tapped it and sent a tone out, so sorry about that, everybody. But as you look at this, keep that in mind. What's great for the shack is not going to be great for the field. And if you're sitting here with any of these keys, and say you're doing winter field day, you're doing a QSO party, you're going to tire out with these things. Will they work? Absolutely. But just think about it. The more precision, more weight, and as you get a little bit excited, man, you're just gonna knock those keys around. So keep a heads up on that as you go. I would definitely suggest starting with a lower cost key just to get the ball rolling, to learn CW, and then you can start watching for brand new keys that go on sale, used keys online, or again, Hamfest, friends, things like that. Get involved with communities. That's also a great way to find them. So when we go into the field, talking back about these keys, we talked about the portability. Small, smallish, heavy, but small, right? So these all fit nice in small compartmentalized areas. When you're out, you gotta face and watch out for the environmental challenges. You can have weather, you can have wind, dirt, and debris. So when you're out operating outside, you have to watch out for those environmental challenges, like the weather. Could be windy. The wind. When you're out operating, you got to watch out for those environmental challenges. Outdoors can have weather, rain, wind, dirt and debris that is on the table, on the rocks, blown in the air. And you might even drop it, right? You know, if you drop one of these keys, yeah, no factor. You may damage a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. If I drop that ModernMorse key, I'm probably going to cry a little bit because it is very expensive and it's very pretty. I don't want to hurt it, but it's still a field key and I'm taking it out with me. Again, with these, they can be thrown in a pack, thrown in a bag, left in the car, whatever the case may be. Just keep that in mind as you're making your choice. 3D printed keys with heat, they may be just fine. These two are PETG. I'm not sure what they print theirs with, but that's a higher temp filament. If you go with an even higher temp, you may be okay, but I would just generally be wary of the heat. I'm down in Houston. Cars get very hot in the summer. I'd imagine up north they get very cold in the winter, so you could also be looking into an issue of items getting brittle. So again, just overall, how rugged are you? Are you a 3-day backpack hiker who's taking your radio with you? Or are you a car side activator? Or are you in the shack? Because if you're in the shack, you're probably not going to have too much of an issue. So just as you're going through these decisions, keep that in mind. And keeping that in mind, the best way is testing and experimenting. Again, beauty, I keep coming back to these guys. I'm a broken record. But the 3D keys, they're low cost, they're affordable. You can come out and pick one of these up at any time. For less than the cost of half of this guy, you can have 2 of these. So you can figure out, do I like the KM4CFT or do I like the CW Morse? Do I want to print a bunch of the K6 ARK paddles at the house? Try what you like. Put a post out there. Ask for a key. Say, hey, I'm starting. Does anybody have one? I guarantee you somebody does for low to no cost. Again, Steve sent me this for $7, I want to say it was. So that was absolutely just fantastic, and I can't thank him enough for that. So coming full circle, coming back as we take a look, we talked about all these different options, what we need to think about, and what you're going to want for out in the field. Now we want to take a look at the comfort and ergonomics, the speed and the efficiency of the key. How well can you send on it? How fun is it for you to send on? Can you adjust it to the way that you like it? What's your budget? Crap. What's your budget in the whole operating scene between your radio, your antenna, your keys? Don't forget this stuff does add up. I don't want you to go radio or antenna poor and then have to buy a cheap key just because that's all that you can do. So take your time and decide. It is a very personal decision that depends on a lot of factors. It depends on what you want out of the key, what is available, and what suits your style. Take your time and decide. If you guys have any comments, please do leave them below. I'd love to hear what you think, what your favorite key is. So if you've enjoyed the video, let me know with a thumbs up and subscribe. Do you like the green CW Morse? Do you like the blue KM4CFT? Or are you a fan of the fully machined ModernMorse? He is coming out with more colors. I believe he has a pretty awesome colorway that he's going to have up at Dayton this year for Hamvention, so I'm excited to see that. But if you guys have enjoyed the video, let me know with a thumbs up, and I would absolutely love to hit subscribe. That lets me know you like what I'm doing, and I'm going to keep doing it for you. So again, let me know your favorite key and other keys that I may not have covered today that I can take a look at for you guys. And I thank you for watching, and I hope this helps you find the perfect Morse code key for your needs. As always, y'all be good.